Well, this is attempt number 2. When we earlier began, I suffered an OBS mega crash where a bunch of stuff had, well, let's just say that it's over and we've put it behind us and we're ready to move on, and you don't need to hear about how I stubbed my toe in the middle of the night. Welcome to NewsDialect. This is Paul Gordon Collier, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking the news. I'm going to be dialecting it. I'm going to leave you, the audience, determine what any of this means. Because in truth, I'm not sure that any of this means anything. None of it. Not even anything that you say back to me. But we're going to soldier on, and we're going to try to facsimile our way through the universe, through the wonder that is the news. And we're going to get right to the first segment. And there we got the first segment here. And I see that sometimes we have an issue here, but I have figured it out. So the first segment here is our NewsFire Dialectics. And that is, let me just get this thing back. Come on. There we go. Sometimes you got to turn it back off and on. There you go. Ha ha. It should be okay after this. At least it was in the test, so I got to remember that. So, news fires. What we got going on here? We've got global. You know what? This is a perfect time to start recording. I think I'll record like maybe each segment. That's what I'll do. So we're going to start the NewsFire Dialectics right now. All right, this is the NewsFire Dialectics. Paul Gordon Collier. This is part of the NewsFire, the NewsDialect show. For our headlines for NewsFire Dialectics, or whatever you want to call it, this is the news fires, baby. We scorch the earth with our news fires. Global treaty on plastic trash in the works at UN. 50 real Amazon stores to be deleted. Iran close to having enough uranium for bombs. Awesome. Mask mandates fall across the U.S. from cities to whole states. We've got DNCFL Senate hopeful has violent public teacher passed. Now that's a headline. Beheaded man's mom finds head in bucket. Whoa. All right. This is from earlier. Bill Barr says Epstein did it. I think that speaks for itself. Those are the headlines for the news fires, and then we're going to get to look at a little bit of each story here, maybe just a brief little commentary here. We're looking at the global treaty on plastic trash in the works at the UN. So UN takes historic steps towards global treaty on plastic trash. And this is from Japan Today, but, the United Nations on Wednesday agreed to start negotiating a world-first global treaty on plastic pollution. And I'm sure that there will be no grift involved. I'm sure no mega corporations will benefit in any way, shape, or form. But in the whole, you may see some diminishing human progress in the course of the grinding down of souls. I'm just speaking metaphorically, of course. I love all of this. I love my overlords. I love it all. I'm happy. I'm a happy man. Falling to my death. If you notice, falling to my death. 50 real Amazon stores to be deleted. That's a good headline. Congratulations on that one. Amazon plans to shut down more than 50 brick and mortar stores. By the way, I wrote that headline, so I am congratulating myself. Future reference. Someday somebody can get me on that. Amazon plans to shut down more than 50 brick and mortar stores. This is from New York Times. Amazon is closing more than 50 of its physical retail stores, including 24 bookstores. Of course, they're closing the bookstores. It's ironical. I don't know if that means anything. I didn't pick it as a story. As the story that we're going to dialectal into, so we're just going to move on. Iran close to having enough uranium for bombs, folks. Is this not a beautiful thing? If you ask me, this is truly a beautiful thing. UN atomic watchdog Iran further raising nuclear stockpiles. The United Nations, this is from ABC News. The United Nations atomic watchdog said Thursday that it believes Iran has significantly increased its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. So Iran could be close to making the bomb, but I've heard them say that for maybe a decade or more now. They're on the verge. Mask mandates fall across the U.S. from cities to whole states. More state cities lift mask mandates, COVID-19 restrictions as cases fall. From Fox News. Nearly a week after the Senate... I don't know why I got to do that voice. You don't need that voice. Nearly a week after... you need this voice. Nearly a week after the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention loosened mask guidances, city and blah, 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 blah. So what's the real reason? What's going on here? You tell me. Are we looking at a generally humbled authoritarianocracy that is thinking we better rein it back? We're about ready to lose our metaphoricals, the diaper kind of stuff, if you know what I'm saying. So I think they reined it back and they conjectured, hey, let's just... No, that's not what happened. What happened was, well, in a sense, maybe rein it back, maybe sort of, but maybe I think there's a couple things going on here. I think primarily it's the midterms, but there could be more going for it. I could talk more about it, but I didn't pick this story. I didn't pick this story to go into. I didn't. DNC Florida Senate hopeful has violent public teachers passed. As a teacher, Florida Dem Senate hopeful slammed student to the ground. This is from Free Beacon. Election as a public school teacher, a Florida Democrat received a suspension after he slammed student to the ground. And now we're not going to go into that story. We could. Maybe there's like a redemptive arc, and we find out that the kid that he slammed into the ground was strangling a poor little nerd, and the nerd was almost dead. And he was just rescuing the little nerd. Saved a human life. But the school was like, no, man, you slammed him. And he'd be like, yo, man, I wasn't thinking. I was just quick. It was just quick. Like lightning. I have no idea. And we're going to go on. Beheaded man's mom finds head in bucket. Woman charged with a gruesome meth-filled sex murder after a mom finds her son's severed head in a bucket in her basement. That's from The Blaze, okay? And then we got this last one here. Bill Barr says Epstein did it. Bill Barr says Epstein did it! Yay! All right. So what are we going to pick? What are we going to pick? Well, folks, I thought long and hard about it. And we're going to go with this. All right. Well, looks like we're going to have to do that thing with the camera on here, too. So turn you off and turn you on. And uh-oh. Why are you not coming back on? Come on. Oh, there we go. All right. Everything's fine. This is where we're at now, folks. This is the universe that we're talking about. This is the foundation of our universe right here. Beheaded man's mom finds head in bucket. Okay? That's the story that I chose to dialectalize, such as that is. And there was a bucket. There's a bucket. You got limited choices when you're dealing with free to use and, bucket. It's a bucket. Brilliant. Woman charged with gruesome meth-filled sex murder after a mom finds her son's severed head in a bucket in her basement. Wow. I mean, listen, I want you to remember, because I am a decent human being, there are real lives involved in this. So we're talking about real human beings that have died and real human beings that have done horrible things. With that in mind, let's continue on. A Green Bay, Wisconsin woman was charged with a gruesome murder after a mother discovered her son's severed. Discovered her. I couldn't even get it out. Discovered her son's severed head in a bucket in her basement. Oh, man. Oh, I just can't. Oh. It just. Wow. Police charged 24-year-old Taylor Shabunis with intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and sexual assault on Tuesday. You never want to see all of these in one charging moment, so to speak. Not a good trio at all. The mother of the victim, a 25-year-old man, called the police at about 3:25 a.m. on February 23rd after finding the son's severed head in a bucket in the mom's basement. That's a thing that a human being experienced in Green Bay, Wisconsin, not more than a couple of few days ago. When police arrived, they found the severed head and dried blood on a mattress in the basement, according to criminal complaint. Upon learning that Shabunis was the last person to see the man, they found her at her home. Police said she had blood on her clothing, and they discovered a crock pot with additional human body parts, including legs, inside, in a crock pot. Is there more to this story? So let's get a little bit spicy. Well, there she is. That's what she looks like. That is the woman that chose what she chose. Allegedly. I'm thinking it's probably very low level on the allegedly and high level on the she did it. A Green Bay, Wisconsin woman was charged with a gruesome murder. Okay, we read that. So the mother of the victim, a 25-year-old man, called the police at 3:25 a.m. Wow. So after obtaining a warrant, police said they found additional body parts of the man at the first home, including a male organ in the bucket and an upper torso in the storage tote. Wow. Police said that, wow, Shabunis, oh my, how did I miss this whole time? Shabunis. That's a shame that it's attached to, what seems like a stone cold killer, because all in all, it's kind of a cool name. Shabunis told them she and the man had smoked methamphetamine and began having sex with each other, but at some point she went crazy and strangled the man with her bare hands. Shabunis responded that the police were going to have fun trying to find all the organs as she dismembered the body. Shabunis stated all of the body parts should be in the basement. Shabunis stated there should be a foot or a leg in the minivan. You know, that would be a good band name. And we're going to do that one a lot. I love that one. Foot or a leg in the minivan. Not a foot. Foot or a leg in the minivan. That's the name of the band. Foot or a leg in the minivan. And now, ladies and gentlemen, foot or a leg in the minivan. Foot or a leg in the minivan with a song. Shabunis. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Shabunis. Number one hit. The complaint alleges that Shabunis told police she intended to bring all the body parts with her. Wow. But that she got paranoid and lazy. Does she? And every time. When you're trying to cut bodies up, and you know you want to be neat, and you want to take them with you, and don't leave a track behind, you get a little messy, and you think to yourself, I'll just leave his head in a bucket for his mother to find. Also in the bucket is penis. Oh boy. Oh boy. Police say she used a bread knife to mutilate the body. The complaint. That's one heck of a complaint. Now that is we're talking, complaint. The complaint Well, the complaint is allegedly she cut off his head and put his penis and his head in a bucket for his mother to discover. That's the complaint. We're thinking it might be more than a misdemeanor, but we're going to call it a complaint. I know it's a legalistic conceit, but nonetheless. Wow. She asked detectives if they knew what it was like to love someone so much that you kill it. Oh. I don't know the Tinder thing, but whatever the is it swipe right or left? I don't know, but whichever one is a hard pass. Definitely. Not a future Tinder date if that's your world. I'm a happily married man myself, so I don't know of such things. And I've been married for 20 happy years, so Tinder was not even around before I found basically the greatest human being on the face of the planet, and she is. So anyway, we're going to go a little bit deeper into this. A little bit more stuff. There she is. Who is this lady? Who is Taylor Shabusiness? Taylor Shabusiness. I should be in the business. Wisconsin woman Taylor Shabusiness was arrested in connection to a gruesome discovery of a man's head and genitals and genitalia. Very nice. In a bucket. There you go. Now, I chose to couch it in such a way. Now, you will... I have made sure to slightly alter the chemical composition of the coloring of the artifacts that you see. I do that for my own amusement, but she looks much better in the colorized version than she does in the version here. I've kind of done her a favor, and kind of a part of me kind of feels a little bit bad about that. And that was a spam call, by the way. I got to leave my phone on for reasons, so you're just going to hear my phone ring, and that's business. Because business got to keep going. You know what I'm saying? If I got to stop this train and business, I'll business. So she's a 24-year-old woman from Green Bay, Wisconsin. In her initial interview, police asked her what had happened. She reported, "That's a good question." Man. At least she's got a sense of humor. That's about all. Never mind. That's about all she's got. Well, she does have. Never mind. Oh boy, I'm going to get through this. After further probing, she allegedly said she spent the day smoking meth with the... Okay, so Coach says, so her next step was she went from, I don't know, man, it's a good question. Well, well, he's dead, and we found his penis and his head in a bucket. And that's not a joke. I don't know why you're laughing. I don't know why you're cracking up. This is not good. I was just, all right, man. All right. I smoke meth with him. That's it. Things got a little crazy. She allegedly claimed that they had consensual sex. Oh my, this just gets better and better. Well, sadder and horrible, all of it. Laugh at humanity. Laugh at it. Which involved chairs. She allegedly claimed that they had consensual sex, which involved chairs. So we're in that world. The criminal complaint states that she allegedly said she didn't mean to kill him, but enjoyed the choking and continued to do it. Wow, that's probably accurate. So, wow. So basically, we're no picture of the son. There's Shabusiness. There she is, Shabusiness. There she is. She strangled a man to death. And I think she probably was doing some sort of, stuff of some sort. And then she couldn't take it. All right. 5 shocking female serial killer statistics. I mean, you got to look at this now. Now you got to think about this. I mean, she's not a serial killer, but got you thinking. Let's here we go. In the United States, about 1 in 6 serial murderers was a female. Women. Terrible. That's naughty. From 1800. Oh, wow. This is tracking from 1800 to 2000. So the female serial killer statistics do not take into account the speculation of genders of unknown serial killers. So we don't want to misgender serial killers. Female serial killers have between 427 to 600. Okay, I don't care about the. Okay, never mind. I'm going to do it. I'm in for a pound. I'm in for a penny. Or is it in for a penny or for a pound? Whichever. Female serial killers have between 427 to 612 victims. Wow, that's a nice range. That seems like a low number. I think they probably killed way more than that. I mean, this girl just killed like one guy herself. And that was even on accident. Come on, man. That was on accident. So what happened was on accident. And then afterwards, I was like, I mean, I'm screwed anyway. I mean, I literally murdered the guy. I might as well have fun with it. I mean, that's what she thought. Let's just move on. It was erstwhile believed that female serial killers existed in the medieval London or in the Victorian era, when females were subjected to much injustice, and some, like Black Widow, fought back and avenged the wrong done to them. That perception was proved to be wrong when studies revealed that women often don't kill for any revenge or anything remotely close. This is terribly written. This sentence here. I want to find this writer. And I want to just briefly, I just want to tell them to write 1,000 more articles and then come back again. I'm not judging people, though. I'm not picky. They may kill for the fun of it and may even have their own agendas, with the victims having done no wrong. It is estimated that more than, wow. So what they're basically saying, yo, man, you think that ladies just kill because of like hot-blooded revenge? No, man, they're just stone cold killers. So this is kind of not really in favor of the ladies. It's kind of not about revenge. They're just stone cold killers. All right. So there's also a perception that female serial killers tend to murder men, and the men are either absolutely helpless or considerably powerful. That perception is wrong, too. Female serial killers are equally likely to murder other women and even children. They're heartless bastards. Killers, stone cold killers, baby. I don't know why I'm cheering on. I'm not cheering it on. It's grim. It's sad. A moment of, you know what? Hashtag no more serial killing. And if you're caught serial killing, I say you get canceled. Definitely. Hard cancel. More than 51% of female serial killers have had at least one female victim, and more than 30% of them have murdered at least one child. Just, I'm so alien to the concept of ending human life, and I'd love to keep it that way, everybody. Yay. All right, leave me stay in my little bubble. Among all reported and solved cases of female serial killings, only 26% cases had material gain as the reason for the killings. Sexual factors were found to be a reason in as many as 10% of all reported cases. Well, I think we've seen some serial... I mean, this woman... Listen, if she would have gotten away with this, listen, she's a serial killer. She's gone. She's like, after she experienced this, it's like, ain't no way she's going to stop. Among all, okay, I already said it. Only 25% have material gain as the reason. Well, see, like I said, they don't do it for revenge. They don't do it for money. They just do it. Like this woman is just... the experience. Well, there you go. That's pretty grim. Alrighty. And here's a little last little dose here, and then we're going to end this segment soon enough. Trust me. Female serial killers are more common than you think. When we think about serial killers, we think about men. Well, men, actually, some vicious, twisted sociopath working alone. What? I messed up something there. Some vicious, twisted sociopath. Actually, some vicious, twisted sociopath working alone. I get it. All right. He probably has a dreadful nickname given to him by the media. You know, like I was gonna say, never mind. I was gonna say Brandon, but that's mean. Mean. You know, I have a friend who's really in for the Russians, and I call him. His first name is Dmitry, and I call him Deputin now. His name is Deputin. He is Deputin. So anyway, wow, son of Satan. There's that. Oh no, never mind. Son of Sam. That's bad, but not as bad as Son of Satan. That's even worse. Shadow Killer, Berlin Butcher. All right, whatever. All right, this is like, get me to the milk here, because so far, I mean, I'm not expecting meat from this. I'm only expecting milk, but I'm not even getting milk. All right, so where is it? Aiken wasn't okay. I'm very horribly let down by this whole thing. Where are we at? What happened was people are confronted with a female serial. What happens when people are confronted with a female serial killer? When ideas of the weaker sex break down and we're starting into the unnerving eyes of a woman with dried blood under her fingernails first, we'll probably check to see if she's hot or not. Oh my, worth it? I am so glad I found this. Oh my gosh. And you know, the thing is, that is, I'm sorry, that is probably true. I am a decent human being, so I would not be thinking this thing. I wouldn't be thinking immediately, is she hot? Okay. First, we'll probably 2015 study took pains to determine which of the 64 female serial killers they profiled were of above average attractiveness. This helps their crimes go down easier, a spoonful of sugar, etc. Wow, there is some power in the pelvis, so to speak. Today certain pelvi that are attached to certain, never mind. Today we remember the killer Erzsébet as do we? Sexy vampire? I do not remember her as a sexy vampire, by the way, okay? If this is the woman that I think she is, she's a horrible, horrible woman. And I doubt very much that she was all that attractive. I think these are highly fetishized versions of this woman. That's just, she's a horrible, evil, horrible woman. I am not in any way, shape, or form endorsing that type of behavior for anyone. Least of all, Elizabeth Bathory. Okay, you're gonna give me that. Erzsébet, sexy vampire lady. Ugh. All right, so there we got that going on. All right, in general, people take pains to link female serial killers to lust at every possible turn. If the woman in question isn't hot, burn her at the stake and give her a silly nickname while you're at it, like Giggling Grandma. You know, this happens with men too, by the way, with women, how women treat men serial killers. So I don't know if they did a study on the other side, but women will kind of do this too. I don't know if they're probably not quite as dramatic as men, but in general, the uggos of the world, when they do the crime, they do the time. That's true, male and female. So it's somewhat more attenuated when it comes to the female. It's more accentuated, pretty dramatically so, actually. But still, it is also a problem for males as well. We don't want, what we want is for our serial killers, no matter what they look like, we want to kill them. That's what we want. We don't, like, if they're pretty, kill them. Burn everybody at the stake. I think that's the message here. So, like nicknames, archetypes can be useful organizational tools, but they too often end up suppressing more nuanced ideas of evil and darkness in femininity. Oh! Well, anyway, this actually is an interesting article, but I don't want to go too deep into this quagmire here, but I'm just trying to get to see where if I get to, we could ask ourselves, why do women kill? Why do I do it? Well, okay, there you said it. But I think we might as well ask, why does anyone kill? Yeah, I think the reasons are probably remarkably similar. They may be done in very different ways because physiologically there's significant, physiologically there's real differences between males and females. So you develop different patternings. Because, and in general, I don't mean absolutely, obviously. And in introduction to War and Peace, Leo Tolstoy brings up the case of Daria Nikolaevna, no, I can't do it, Saltykova, a Russian serial killer from the 1700s, who appears in the book on studying letters, diagrams, and I don't know all the other, okay, whatever. So, there you go. These lady killers were clever, bad-tempered. Yeah, so that's interesting. That's, I think that's, what did we learn here, folks? I think the bottom line, what we learned here is that women are just like men. And if they are serial killers, even if they're really, 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 really hot, burn them at the stake. So our lady who was, let's be honest, she haven't serial killed yet, but don't let's kid ourselves. The lady is going to serial kill. If she ever gets a chance to serial kill, there's no way she's ever not going to want to do this again. And she does happen to be a woman that she's a woman. I mean, objectively, okay, objectively, she's a woman that has the capacity to appeal to a broad swath of men, but needs work to do it. She's not a natural, like, just go out there with no makeup kind of gal. She's past that stage in her life, so she's in the makeup and low cut and all that stuff to get, but she could. So yeah, she's a dangerous woman, but I'm not for the death penalty for reasons, but if I was, I would want her dead. D-E-D, dead. And I don't care how quote-unquote hot she is, or not hot, either way. All right, that's the end of that segment. That's how it goes. So let's get ready for the next segment here. Let's get this queued up. I want to be a professional. I want to be a cowboy. And our next segment is it's called Advanced News. Let's get to it. Welcome to Advanced News. This is from the NewsDialect show. This is Paul Gordon Collier, your host. And we're going to get to our Advanced News headlines first, and then we'll circle back around, go a little bit deeper, and then we'll go a dialect in the story that we choose. Which story will we choose? Climate smart commodities pushed by $1 billion USDA plan. Researchers zero in on genes behind heart attacks. Home power connected to grid could lead to blackouts. There were 3 or more versions of T-Rex, new research suggests. U.S. states looking at TikTok's mental health threat to kids. I realize I'm starting to sing-song those. I don't want to do that. Ford Electric and Ford Gas are in the works. Ford Electric and Ford Gas. That's wild. So then we got quantum view of the underground comes into focus. Sub-Saharan DNA antiquity doubles in new find. And we're going to go back up to the top here and go a little bit deeper, because that's what we do on Advanced News. Oh, I realize I don't have my camera operating, so this is a problem. I hope that I don't have to continue to have to do this every time I go to every scene all the time, because otherwise I may have to bludgeon someone with my own, and I might have to do this a couple times. There we go. So it looks like you have to do it a couple times sometimes to get her fired up. Get the message, hey man, you're supposed to be turning on right now. What's up with that? That guy's off. There's no problem. Got everybody. Anyway, you guys understand. Let's get back to climate smart commodities pushed by $1 billion USDA plan. So USDA to invest $1 billion in climate-smart commodities. And this is from Valley Journal Net. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is delivering on its promise to expand markets by investing $1 billion in partnerships for climate-smart commodities. That's all you get. Did I pick that one? I'm not telling you which one I picked. I'm not going to say which one I didn't pick. It might be that one. Researchers zero in on genes behind heart attacks. New study identifies critical genes that cause coronary heart disease and trigger heart attacks. This is from SciTech Daily. Victor Chang Candice. Victor Chang is the writer here. Cardiac Research Institute. So it's from the Cardiac Research Institute. The results gave the way for a whole new field of... So there you go. If they can zero in on the genes, then they can start to make stuff tailored to fix the gene problem, the problems before they arise. And then we got CRISPR, folks. And in CRISPR, we've got the possibility of fixing your damaged cells, so to speak, your damaged DNA. You can make yourself better, make yourself real, make yourself real, make yourself real. Home power connected to grid could lead to blackouts. New study reveals small-scale renewable energy sources could cause power failures. This is from Science Daily. Renewable energy that feeds into the main power grid could destabilize the system and potentially cause blackouts. There were 3 or more versions of T-Rex, new research suggests. Tyrannosaurus skeletal remains reveal T-Rex may have been 3 distinct species. Imagine 3 distinct species. I wonder if they warred with each other. I wonder if there was like T-Rexism amongst the T-Rexes. If you weren't the right kind of T-Rex. This is where hate began. It began with the 3 T-Rexes. A new analysis of Tyrannosaurus skeletal remains reveals physical differences in the femur, other bones, and dental stuff. And that's it. Did I choose that story? U.S. states looking at TikTok's mental health threat to kids. That picture is really beautiful. States attorneys general are looking at TikTok as a potential source of mental health threat to our children and are sending messages to TikTok that it's being investigated to discern whether or not TikTok is threatening the mental stability of our children. This is the ongoing war of, you got competing factions of, you got Silicon Valley and you got Washington. And you have families connected to both. And some of them are new families. There's a lot of nouveau riche around these days. So that's another interesting dynamic when it comes to top-level powers in the world, in America specifically. But power in America is fundamentally power in the world. And this is just a way for the states, the government, families to get a little bit of that sugar back their way, really. So this means TikTok's going to have to invest and fund and pay. That's pretty much what it's about. And understand who its daddy is. And then TikTok will, everybody does. It's not over. This is never ending anymore. Ford Electric and Ford Gas are in the works. Ford is looking to create 2 nearly separate businesses under one Ford label that would each focus on one type of automobile propulsion, gas turbine or electric. The biggest friction in the move could come from the dealers, and the dealers are going to be in somewhat of a quandary. Do we go with all electric? Do we go with all gas? If we go with all electric, all gas, that just makes things all more confusing, because now you're going to deal with 2 separate kind of, it's almost like you're doing 2 businesses, and you don't want to deal with that. Quantum view of the underground comes into focus. Quantum tech breakthrough for subsurface mapping. And this is from gplus.co. In a world first, a quantum gravity sensor has been used to detect a buried structure outside of laboratory conditions. So I have this hope I had this fantasy when I was a younger individual, and I still held on to it, that one day we'll have the capacity to scan the world to such detail, and with all of our little AI, deep learning, all that, confabulations and quantum computers helping, and all kinds of discombobulation and macrolations. We put a little coin into a slot, and out comes all of the archaeological evidences that the earth has preserved, and our ability to 3D print all of the artifacts in perfect condition, in perfect replicative condition. It's coming, and then everybody will know everything. Well, probably not, but because there's plenty of stuff that's just lost. Then we have sub-Saharan DNA antiquity doubled in new find. DNA from ancient African foragers indicates cultural change. And this is from futurity.org. A new analysis of human remains buried in African archaeological sites has produced the earliest DNA from the continent that now moves it back, I think moves it back to like 30,000 BC, something like that. I'm talking about like humans being in the earth. I mean, in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, before that, but talking about where we start to see the DNA that's around today appear. Well, now we know that the earliest human DNA is really sub-Saharan African DNA, and it goes back 30,000 years. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. CPUs with spinning electrons. Spinning electrons could power your future computer. This is from freedomist.com. Researchers at Goethe University Frankfurt have made a breakthrough discovery identifying a rare earth material that could be an ideal candidate to become used in, basically, it's, I don't know the science, but because of the spinning electrons allow you to process it in a way that takes up a lot less energy. It processes it a lot faster as well because of the spinning electron thingy. So there you go. That's I don't have anything other than that. Let's hope that I don't have to reactivate my window on the transition, because we're about ready to transition to the next stage here. This is the story that I've chosen to focus on. And as I suspected, once again, they have chosen to not put my camera on right away. So this is something that I'm going to have to figure out after the next show. I got to make sure I got no reason to answer that. And, there we go. Ha. We're here. We're here on the home power connected to grid could lead to blackouts. This is little. That's a nice little setup, isn't it? And a tiny, cute little starter kit. I think it's pretty neat. New study reveals small-scale renewable energy source could cause power failures. So this is from ScienceDaily.com. Renewable energy that feeds into the main power grid could destabilize the system and potentially cause power failures, according to a new study. Mathematicians from the University of Nottingham used data from smart meters to track how grid composition changes over time and found resilience varies over the course of a day, and that a high uptake of solar panels can leave the grid more susceptible to failure. Their findings have been published today in Science Advances. Domestic renewable energy generation is growing rapidly with just over I don't need to read the rest of that. That's really the mathematicians. It's the mathematicians. They figured it out. They figured it out. They did their maths. That's one thing I'm a bit of an Anglophile, and I really like that phrase, maths. I prefer to say maths. Yes, I'm not very good at my maths. I'm up to algebra 1 or whatever. Algebra 101 or whatever. Basic algebra. Nothing beyond that, kids. I'm sorry to say that. Solar interconnection standards and policies from the EPA, United States Environmental Protection Agency. So this is interconnection standards define how a distributed generation system such as solar, so I'll just say solar cells, can connect to the grid to some areas of the United States. The interconnection process lacks consistent parameters and procedures for connecting to the grid is unnecessary, or to the grid, or is unnecessarily complex. All right. I wish you did say is unnecessary. This drives up cost and causes delays, which can be significant barriers to project development. The ability to interconnect to the grid in a cost-effective and timely manner may determine whether a project moves forward or not. The continued growth of the distributed solar market has prompted electric utilities, regulators, and others to consider improvements to the interconnection process. Maybe just let us have our own solar panel homes, and we don't need to be connected. We don't need your sticking grid. We can set up our own like local grids, like if families want to. Families that want to share with families that don't. That would be cool. That'd be cool. I would share my electric if I could produce enough with my neighbors. I'd do that. The following links exit the site. Exit. Connecting to the grid guide. Database of state incent. Okay, I don't. So there you go. I got some issues going on. How do solar panels connect to this grid? To the grid. In this article, we explain what it means to connect to the grid and the difference between an on-grid and off-grid home. Well, we're not going to look at all that. We're just going to sit a little bit there. See if we can make you a little bit bigger. One of the fundamental concepts of home solar is grid interconnection, otherwise known as connecting to the grid. Well, what does this mean? First, let's define exactly what grid means. All right. When talking about home solar, the grid refers to the power grid. Okay, I don't need that basic stuff. Here's a size chart. I want a size chart. Is this, okay, that's not the kind of size chart I want. I've been hosed. I'm very disappointed in that size chart. I didn't know I thought the size chart were going to tell me, like, how much. That was an ad. I clicked on an ad. They got a free click from me. Here's something a little bit more. We got, okay, whatever. Transmission. Okay, I understand the grid. Okay. Rapid shutdown requirement. Your home solar system will have a red cutoff switch installed. The switch enables you or firefighters to shut down power to the array and disconnect it from the grid in the event of an emergency. In addition, a recent rule in the National Electric Code specifies that power cutoff must happen automatically at each panel, not just the array. This is because in a solar array with a string inverter that does not conform to NAC 2017, the solar panel still generates electricity and can energize the wires on the roof, potentially putting firefighters in danger. Okay. So this must happen automatically at each panel. We'll have the switch enables you or firefighters to shut down power to the array. Okay, I'm assuming this is just for firefighting. This isn't in general, because I don't want to be hearing that I got to connect something to my thing that's going to automatically cut down my system in the event of a quote-unquote emergency. I think the last 2 years have told us that if someone says emergency, you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to sit down and wait for the asteroid to hit. Screw that. The new rapid shutdown rule requires that the array has electronics at each panel to shut off the flow of electricity, making the roof safe for emergency workers. Okay, so that's what... Oh, wait a second. For emergency workers. So, not metering and grid-connected homes. No, net metering and grid-connected homes. See, I really... I mean, this is a deep dive that we're not going to go deep. We're just scratching the surface, but you see there may be some legitimate health risks, but at the same hand, then just don't I don't want to be connected to the grid. The only other option you have is if you're in a situation where you get shut down for 2 or 3 days, you get backup batteries and there's no big deal. But if you go longer than 2 or 3 days and you're waiting for the government to let you use power that you can use right now to take care of your family, no, man, that's too much. That's unsat. We don't cotton to that around here. Sorry, that's not the way we play. Why some Florida residents couldn't use their solar panels after Hurricane Irma. I remember this story. Millions of Florida residents lost power after Hurricane Irma raged through the state, but some homeowners with solar energy installation couldn't use them during the outrage. Up to 40% of Floridians lost power. Renewable generator systems connected to the grid without batteries are not a standby power source during an FPL outage. The system must shut down when FPL grid shut down in order to prevent dangerous backfeed on FPL grid. This is required to protect FPL employees who may be working on the grid. So there you go. So it's not worth it being connected. And not only that, but we're just now hearing also, it's not even working for the electric companies for you to be connected. The only reason you really want to maintain people being connected is for control. But I am all for it. We're looking into possibly adding a solar roof to our home, and I am all for if we could get other families in our neighborhood, if we could create a little network of power that we could use to power people that maybe if you have a period of time for whatever reason you couldn't afford, you're struggling, whatever, we could help those in need in our own neighborhoods, shared electricity. Think about what we could do. But these people get in our way. These people, the people that most of you listening to this, and there's 100 people listening right now, I mean metaphorically, most of you are voting for the very people that will continue to put their foot in our neck that prevents us from doing these wonderfully simple things. New type of solar cell that can be put on windows and clothes could revolutionize green energy. A new kind of solar cell that is so thin it can be stuck on walls and windows with no discernible loss of light looks set to give green energy a major boost within a decade after a government-funded breakthrough in the technology. 100 times thinner than a human hair, the cell could be put on clothing to power wearable electronics such as smartwatches and Fitbits, its developers say. And the key here is the IP, intellectual property. Is this going to be locked behind IP firewalls that the government is paying for the technology? So it should be the people's technology. So we should be able to freely be able to take the technology and develop it ourselves. Build our own stuff. The people's stuff. The people's stuff. You know what? The people's tech. The people's tech. You know what? I just wonder. That's a good name. I like that. The people's tech. Somebody probably already took it, and probably some commie. And I'm not a communista. I'm not a capitalist, but I'm not a communista. It could be liberally applied to all sorts of surfaces, from industrial solar farm panels to household roofs, from cars and ships to temperature and other smart sensors. We could cover everything with it. Let's just do it. The heck be darned. Let's just do it. Yeah. Thinking of that guy from year one, that the priest in year one that does the rubbing of the oils. You guys know what I'm talking about. You just want to. I'm not going to repeat it. You know, the effort it all, the thrill of it all. Well, never mind. I can't do it. I don't know. Should I find it? You know what? Why don't I do that? Why don't I literally do that? All right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Why not? I've got time. Got year one priest scene. Okay, see if this is the priest scene. Okay, here we go. Hold on. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to do it. All right, hold on. I'm going to do it. Why not? I've got time. I've got time. Got year one priest scene. Okay, see if this is the priest scene. I can't. Okay, here we go. Hold on. It's worth it. It's worth it. It is worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. I'm kind of liking this. Here we go. Listen to myself. All right, hold on. I'm going to do it. Why not? All right, let's. Got time. All right. I paused. I kind of enjoyed that. I might try to do that in the future. If I can get a little bit of a talking rant and then go forward and listen to it and then come. That could be kind of entertaining. I think that would be quite entertaining. Anyway, here we go.
Selfish of me, isn't it?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Very unselfish of you.
It is unselfish of me, isn't it? You're so perceptive.
Here it is. Come on, do it.
Those doors over there.
Behind these doors is the Holy of Holies, earthly domain of the gods.
Oh, come on.
It is so ineffably thick.
All right, I'm probably gonna get. Let me get forward here. Wait, hold on.
Just a second to get out of there. By the gods.
They will have to finish it. I'm given exactly 4.5 seconds when the gods descended.
If the bug goes somewhere.
Instant death for the bug.
So are there dead bugs all over the floor? Because you said nobody cleans it.
They bribe.
Oh, come on.
Needs no.
Oh, come on.
Earthly domain of the gods.
I didn't get it. I didn't get the right scene, but
The to enter is instant death.
that guy, oil priest, very, very, very memorable individual. I'll just say, very, very memorable. Well, we went back in time. Whew. Okay, so, and then we've got last on the list after we took that little detour. Worth it. I think we all, and that's part of the dialecticaling. I will allow myself to go wherever the brain takes us. It's part of the show. Breakthrough in converting carbon dioxide into fuel using solar energy. A research team has shown how solar power can convert carbon dioxide into fuel by using advanced materials and ultra-fast laser spectroscopy. The breakthrough could be an important piece of the puzzle in reducing the levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere in the future. We're going to laser the skies and heal the world. Laser the skies, free the world. No, not free the world. Sorry. Whoa. Let's not do that. If we're going to laser the skies, it ain't going to be to free the world. It's going to be to heal the world by our definition of healing. Because that's how it goes, folks. What do you say about a story like that? I mean, you got a situation where you could understand some pragmatic reason why, if you're hooked up to the grid, that you might want to not have it activated, but you'd want to, I'm sure you have to figure out a methodology to be able to, if you want to hook up to the grid, don't do it unless you can unhook up to the grid in a clean way that the government ain't going to bother you. And in the state of Florida, they don't give you the choice because you have to connect your solar to the grid. It's mandatory, and it's a sweetheart deal that their solar company got, their electric company. Their current power company got them with a little bit of that little sugar and spice behind the scenes, if you know what I'm saying. Not saying anybody would be a grifter that's a politician, but Nancy Pelosi did say that we're not gonna pass legislation that makes it illegal for politicians to do basically insider trading and make gazillions of dollars for their families and turn politics into basically good market investment. Yep, what you want in a family, you need to have a couple people. You don't need a lot. It's a crappy job. You've got to be in the public, so you have to behave yourself. So, not many people want the job, but you find the people within it, they take the job. They'll take the job. They're the little faces, the little public faces that you see. You got a few of those, and got a little insider trading going on. Your family would be in it for the money for life. Not just your life, but the life of the next and the next and the next and the next and the next. We got ourselves some dynasty power working on here, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the story. And it all is brought to you by solar. And that's the way the world is. It's all interconnected, folks. Just not in the horribly cartoonish way that many people in very mainstream positions would have you believe. And I'll leave it at that. Well, there you go, folks. Well, folks, we've reached the halfway point. That's the bottom line. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take a little bit of a break here and rest my throat and catch my wind and try to inspire myself, not to bludgeon myself to death, which is easy because I'm a very decent human being that loves myself very much, so that's not a problem. You know what I mean? Paul Steen definitely didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wait. That's bad. Don't do that. Paul Steen, that's a bad move, son. No, we want to, all the part, I didn't kill myself. Maybe say Paulafy, McAfee. That's better. Paulafy. Unless McAfee did something horrible. I don't know. Does he have any? I don't know. You know what? I'm just not even going to try to connect myself to anybody because they're all evil. I'm just going to say Paul didn't do it. In advance, Paul didn't do it. And I know after this show, it's only a matter of time before they continue to not notice me. So with that in mind, let's get to the midstream break. We'll see you in about 4 or 5 minutes. It's a short break. Hi, everybody. I'm back from the break. I'm ready to dive right back in to the news dialecting, where we dialect. And we just dialect. We just do it. We flow with the flow. Not really. Maybe sometimes we do. Maybe sometimes we don't. Let's find out what we're going to do next. We're going to go into what we call base news. Get our base news on. Get that red meat out there, son. Get ready for your red meat. Are you ready? Because here comes the red meat. I am ready for you. I know what you're doing to me. I know that I can expect you to do this, and I am ready in advance. Well, sort of, but not really. I'm here. Don't worry, everybody. I'm here. We're going to get this this part of the show kicked off. Ready? Welcome to Base News. This is from the News Dialect Show. This is your host, Paul Gordon Collier. We're going to go ahead and dialect the base news. Let's just go through the headlines, and then we'll go back through a little bit deeper into each story, and then, well, I've already picked the story that we're going to dialect off of, and I'll leave it for you to see if you can figure out which one I'm going to pick. Biden's DNC hacktivist FTC nominee punted to Senate floor. Democrats force Biden's left-wing regulators picks to Senate floor from dailycaller.com. The Senate Commerce Committee on Thursday voted to advance the nomination of Federal Communications Commission, blah, blah, blah. It was a 14-14 vote, so it was a punt. So she's got a lot of she is going to go to the FTC and she is going to, or the FCC. This is a typo. Should say FCC. She is going to go to the FCC, and she is going. Well, you want unbiased people there. You don't want hacktivists. You don't want people that have at various times called for the dismantling of the United States of America because it's fundamentally racist or white supremacist or whatever, or patriarchal. So, not really what you want in that role. You want people that really are not in anybody's camp, ideally, but scary times, but I think there's a pretty decent chance she's not going to get confirmed, and it's going to be more of an embarrassment to the DNC than anything, but we'll see. 110 professors learn free speech is dead in American academia. So these are over 100 professors targeted for their speech in 2021 from legalinsurrection.com. The Foundation for Individual Rights on Education does amazing work protecting... Okay. Well, anyway, there's 110 professors who have varying levels of censure from their schools for speaking in ways that don't align with the party, the DNC, the schools. Oh, it's all the party. Everybody, it's the party. That's the nationalism. So, is what it is. Is what it is. Did I pick that one? It's a good one. DNC media spread fake news about DeSantis kid mask confrontation. Now, I will say that I think that when I look at the video, I think that DeSantis was speaking candidly, and then he kind of realized, oh, wait, I don't want to put pressure on these kids. And then that's when he said what he did. It came across somewhat authentic to me. I don't know. People but I think it did. I don't think he was trying to force kids. But I really don't think that he was trying to force kids, and to just run with that narrative is just disinformation. It's just, there you go. This is all you get from this segment. Base news. We just read the headlines and then let you judge, and then we go into one of the stories. We pick a story to go into. Texas judge halts Texas CPS investigation of parents with trans kids. A trans judge has issued a temporary halt to a Texas Child and Protective Services investigation of parents who are allowing their teenage transgender daughters to receive gender transition therapies such as hormone therapy and blah, blah, blah. And we got some private stories here. We haven't, we're actually, I don't know why they're in the private category. I don't know. Anyway, so there you go. That is the headlines. And actually, we didn't do it right. We were supposed to go through and read the headlines and then go back and then go into more detail, but we ended up going into just talking about all of them all at once anyway. So, yeah, I guess that's just as well. I don't know if there's any of these, if I look back here, if I want to say anything more about any one of these other than the story that I picked here. But hopefully in the course of this show, I'll be able to talk. I don't want to try and hit you with a lot of stuff, but I got a lot of theories, and I talk in a lot of ways that kind of I presuppositionally assume you might know what I'm talking about. But if you keep watching, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Progressive wing says no to Biden's So Too agenda. That's an interesting ish thing that happened there, where the far left muscle, I call them the far left muscle, that they felt compelled to give Biden a rebuke to his So Too speech, saying it's not happy. They're not fundamentally happy. All right, so let's get to the story that I chose. I think it's time to get to the story that I chose. Oh, there we go. I picked this one. Texas judge halts Texas CPS investigation of parents with trans kid. Yeah, that's the headline, and that's the story that we're looking at. And this is, I'll say, this is a story that, well, I picked it because this is one of these stories that is it's a primary example of the type of circumstances that a Bill of Rights republic is equipped to deal with. But, well, you'll see. Maybe. Or maybe not. A Texas judge has issued a temporary halt to a Texas Child and Protective Services investigation of parents. You know what? I didn't switch over to the browser. That's what I was wondering. Why am I not hearing the right music, man? All right. We're switched over to the right place, but as usual, we got camera issues, and I was anticipating that, but boom, shakalaka, hakamaka, Aza here. All right, I'm here. Now we can get on with this part of our story. A Texas judge has issued a temporary halt to a Texas Child and Protective Services investigation of parents who are allowing their teenage transgender daughter to receive gender transition therapies such as hormone therapy and puberty blockers. That's the neutral take, I think. Texas judge temporarily blocks investigation of trans teens' parents. This is from usatoday.com. A Texas judge issued a temporary restraining order Wednesday that blocked the state's child welfare agency from investigating a couple for child abuse because they provided gender-affirming medical care to their teenage daughter. The order by District Judge Amy Clark Meacham also set a March 11 hearing on whether to grant a wide-ranging injunction barring the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services from following Governor Greg Abbott's February 23rd directive to treat gender-affirming care for minors as child abuse. Just going to let that float. The American Civil Liberties Union, now on this issue, they're willing to appeal to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. very, very, very selective in how, and they're very pro-anti Bill of Rights in a lot of ways. So hardly a consistent partner, but still. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU of Texas, ACLU Women's Rights Project, and Lambda Legal, a national LGBTQ civil rights group, filed a lawsuit Tuesday against Abbott and the Department of Family and Protective Services and its commissioner, Jamie Masters, over investigations launched into parents of transgender minors immediately following the governor's directive. Now that's another thing. This is a governor writing an order, a directive. This is, I just keep finding myself going back to I should have put that in this list, but whatever. The Oliver Cromwell, English Civil War. And what really, more than anything, did in Cromwell and his whole experiment, in which they ultimately reverted back to the king, to the monarchy, is they overtipped their hand. And this is what the DNC has done with its new ideological toy. It's going all full bore, taking the brakes off everything and just putting the foot to the gas, so to speak. That's kind of what I think you're seeing here with this, where you're getting some red states that at this point they have a lot of reason to look at the DNC as you don't act in good faith. You're constantly calling everybody a evil blah blah blah. You're bigoted, homophobic, blah blah blah. And at some point the red staters are like, you know what? We're just gonna do what we do. We don't even care what you think. And you've kind of emboldened them, I think, in some degree. You've shamed them so much that they're not shamed anymore, so they're just gonna do what they were gonna do. But the very thing that you're trying to allegedly stop, you're giving fuel to. So not a good strategy for the DNC and its gravitation towards this new ideological toy. This is the woman, the Honorable Amy Clark Meacham, served as the presiding judge of the 201st District Court since January 2011. So she's the one who shut down the order. And remember, this isn't legislation. This is an order by Abbott, Greg Abbott. Here's the meat of the charge that the filing asking for immediate relief for this thing to be halted. The governor has circumvented the will of the legislature, and in so doing, he and the commissioner have run afoul of numerous constitutional and statutory limits on their power. Additionally, by their actions, defendants have trampled on the constitutional rights of transgendered children, their parents, and professionals who provide vital care to transgendered children. The defendants have, without constitutional or statutory authority, acted to create a new definition of child abuse that singles out a subset of loving parents for scrutiny, investigation, and potential family separation. Their actions cause terror and anxiety amongst transgendered youth and their families across the Lone Star State, and singled out transgendered youth and their families for discrimination and harassment. What is more, the governor's attorney generals and commissioners' actions threaten to endanger the health and well-being of transgendered youth in Texas by depriving them of medically necessary care while communicating that transgender people and their families are not welcome in Texas. Pretty big. Now, you know what? I'm gonna go into the talk mode here for a little bit and then bring it back. So right from the start, we have so many with this story, with the initial story of the father is, we have a Texas court, a Texas governor that has essentially written an order that now make transgendered sex transition therapy child abuse. This is like it's not quite the same, but it's a lot more of the same, I think, than many people would want to face. This is like when the atheists want to push to not allow Christians to teach their children Christianity because they say it's child abuse. It's that same, you're attacking parental rights. Right from the start, that's an issue that should be considered. We should be having adult conversations about transgenderism because I'm not sure what we all understand about it. I'd want to know what's what with what before I went around making drastic decisions that could significantly destroy human life. That's why, like, I'm not in favor of I'll say certain therapies. What do you call them? Whether you want to have puberty blockers or other gender reassignment type therapies. We have. I think that we should wade into that water very carefully when we're talking about children. So we should have adult conversations about that. Should parents be able, at this moment, with what we know, be able to choose to give their children this therapy? Well, let's see if we can find any answers on that. We'll work our way through here and see if we can get any. First thing we're going to start with is, let's go to the risks. Let's go to why it is that people are trying to figure out what to do. We have a group of human beings about, I don't know what, we'll get to that. We've got a group of human beings that, for one reason or another, have, not just recently, throughout much of human history, we've had these human beings that, males that wish to present as females, females that wish to present as males. And the suicide rate amongst these folks, well, let's take a little gander at it here. Suicide rate and suicidal tendencies among transgender persons are considerably high compared to general population. Hence, this review is an attempt to understand the issues around the suicide and suicidal behavior among transgendered persons. Methodology. The literature search conducted using 3 sources, i.e. electronic databases: PubMed, ProQuest, Google Scholar, PsycInfo, manuals, whatever all these things are. The results: the suicide attempt rate among transgender persons range from 32% to 50% across the countries. Gender-based victimization, discrimination, bullying, violence, being rejected by the family, friends, and community, harassment by intimate partners, family members, police, and public, discrimination and ill treatment at healthcare facilities systems are the major risk factors that influence the suicidal behavior among transgender persons. Conclusion: in spite of facing a number of hardships in their day-to-day life, the transgender community holds a number of resiliency factors. Further, this community needs to be supported to strengthen their resiliency factors and draw culturally sensitive and transgender inclusive suicide prevention strategies and increase protective factors to tackle this high rate of suicidability. So I want to see where the ultimate rates are. So let's say the suicide behavior and attempted suicide among transgender person is 32%, 50%. Among young age, 50%. They're at a higher risk for suicidal ideation and suicide attempts at Virginia. 50% of transgender persons in Australia have attempted suicide at least once in their life. Okay, so the self-harm behavior among sexually minority, including transgender person, is equally serious and impactful as suicidality. Okay, so living conditions and salient features. Okay, risk factors of suicide. Now, what I'm looking for, what I was hoping to get was, what percentage of transgendered folks are committing suicide? This is, let's see, I do not see anything like that. So we have a high suicide attempt rate, 32% to 50%, but I don't see the percentage of transgender folks who die by suicide, for instance. But at any rate, it is a pretty, amongst the transgender community, suicide attempts are amongst it's commonplace. So, something's going on. Human beings, for reasons that we don't quite understand, got a lot to learn. They don't identify in the biological body that we're born in. And so that's about 6.6% of people are trans in America. That's allegedly, near as I can find. Transgendered youth on puberty blockers and gender-affirming hormones have lower rates of depression and suicidal thoughts, a new study finds. So that's something to consider. I think. Should consider these things. Recent studies estimate that 1.8% to 2.7%, or approximately 750,000 to 1.1 million adolescents in the U.S. identify as transgendered or non-binary. Well, that's interesting. I think it's might be a lot higher than what you see there. Maybe it is. Maybe there's a lot of people. Interesting if that's the case. Many of these trans youth experience high levels of negative mental health symptoms due to anti-transgender stigma, discrimination, and lack of family or peer support. A 2021 study found that as much as 72% of trans youth were depressed and half had seriously considered suicide. Okay. We are an epidemiologist and fourth-year medical student. Okay, I don't know what that sentence was. Puberty blockers are medications that okay, I know what they are. Gender-affirming hormone therapy like testosterone and estrogen are medications that allow trans youth to experience. Okay, you're going to just repeating again. There's no shortage of scientific and clinical societies that have found these medications to be both safe and effective for transgender people. See, that's the thing. Now, I am not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, and I'm sure that there are all kinds of agendas attached to pushing transgenderism, and I believe that. There's a lot of reason why transgenderism is being pushed, but nonetheless, even if people are using real transgender needs as a wedge to do some nefarious things, these are human beings. And it seems to me that at the very least, we have some credible evidence to suggest that maybe perhaps this is a type of therapy that is worthwhile pursuing. And if that's the case, then I think that Texas is way over the mark here, and this is a Bill of Rights issue for all of us. This is a fundamental constitutional issue for all of us. The government is interfering fundamentally with the parents' right to choose how to take care of their child. This is the DNC machine, whatever you want to call it. At their heart, they would love to see more and more rights of parents get dissolved. And Greg Abbott, in his zeal to outdo, I think this is mostly. Look like the red-pilled of red-pilled. Beast! Doesn't even think about anything. Just knee-jerk. Probably spent almost zero time researching what's what with what. And once again, you have an order that affects millions of people without thinking about it, that causes tremendous amount of harm to everyone, especially the kids. And that's the worst thing that you can do. It's why I oppose DNC so much, because of what they're doing to children's minds right now. And this is just as bad. I oppose this too. So I don't know the science, and I don't know what's what with transgenderism, but I think that we have more than enough to at least consider giving people the option to choose how to treat their children and how to treat themselves as adults, and having the space in America we want to get to, We want to get to a space where I don't have to like you. Like, I don't believe in coercing people to accept transgenderism or Christianity or anything else, or whiteness or blackness or anything. Nobody should be coerced to like anyone or anything, but you cannot act on your dislike. You cannot treat people the way that you view them, because a lot of reasons why we like some people, don't like other people. There's a lot of reasons. You know what? I'm going to go to the talk part here. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we do that, and what we hope to see happen in America, which probably won't, but I'm going to consider me the Bill of Rights prophet, even though I understand the Bill of Rights as an ideal that is, well, it is what it is. It is a useful tool for human beings such as us living in America to utilize, given its long history and how deeply embedded it is in so many human beings in America, the Bill of Rights. And if we could rally around a Bill of Rights world where nobody is compelling anyone to like transgenders, but nobody is going to tolerate people treating transgenders like pieces of garbage anymore either. So, it's both ways. So, I mean, I have no problem, by the way. I don't think anybody should be taken off of any social media because they put stuff out there that says they don't like this, that. Racists shouldn't be taken off. None of that. I'm not for any of that stuff being taken off. But I'm definitely for people choosing not to look, not to associate. And the minute that you go from your public speaking on your platforms to manifesting your views directly to others, or using it in whatever type of power you have in the world to oppress others, and that's when we have a problem. And it doesn't matter whether you do it because they're transgendered or because they're Christian. It doesn't matter whether you do it because they're black or because they're conservative. What matters is we in America, because we recognize the power that the Bill of Rights gives us to live our lives, we also recognize how important it is for us to extend those same rights to others for our own benefit. That's essentially what the journey's about. And that's why I picked this story, because I think that this story is a perfect cross of a lot of different so-called the factions. And I think that transgenderism and how we handle the transgendered community, both in terms of the level of coercion that we seek to apply to force people to love transgenderism, versus the idiotic counter responses that you could see from Greg Abbott, for instance. Will we see people find themselves that can be neighbors under a Bill of Rights frame, and then we can look at transgenderism in an adult way and figure it out in a way that we're not harming people, and we're not using transgenders as a political football for other ends, and therefore making it even more difficult for people that otherwise might want to find a space to understand transgenders and give them their Bill of Rights space, would be less inclined to do so because the political cost is too high. That's kind of how it works, unfortunately, when you politicize everything. For many transgendered men and women, hormone replacement therapy is an important component of their transitioning process. So hormone replacement therapy for transgendered women. So there are some risks. There are some side effects you have here. You have blood clot in the deep vein, high level of triglycerides, a type of fat found in the blood, weight gain, high potassium levels, high blood pressure, reduced libido. So I'm just scanning through here just to see that there's the other side of this, and there's something to consider, and that is the risks. Where we're really lacking understanding, especially what really makes me nervous about treating children, and why I think we should seriously look at this and consider this. I'm not saying I wouldn't be in favor of allowing parents to let their kids take surgery that is irreversible. I wouldn't advocate for that. But outside of that, I think there are varying levels of gender, whatever, therapy that within a Bill of Rights society, it's not like total wackadoodle dangerous stuff. So I don't think you're justified in trying to classify this as child abuse. I think it's an authoritarian move. And it's most likely it's just another psychopath. I kind of view most politicians as being psychopaths of some degree. Not all psychopaths are like bloodthirsty killers. I like David Wood. He's a Christian psychopath. So some psychopaths are pretty cool. But these psychopaths are generally not all that great. And these people, they'll do whatever. They'll dance and do and whatever, no matter how many people they might harm, with no thought about it. No real desire to truly understand, to meet human beings where they're at, and instead of trying to force them into what you think human beings could be. And everybody, left and right, is massively guilty of that. So we got many trans people and gender diverse people take hormones as part of a gender transition. You do not need to take hormones, though. It is your choice. Okay, well, that's interesting, too. I would definitely be in favor, as much as possible, if it was my kid, I'd be looking at trying to use hormone therapy as the least first. There are other ways, let the kid dress the way that they present. When they're younger, the differences between the sexes aren't so much that you can really get away with it. That's why you have the hormone blockers, because you can pass for either sex for a lot longer. But I think the hormone blockers may have some benefits right now, but I'm still looking at the long-term health effects. And here, I don't know if I really get a great answer from this. Transgender people experience incongruence between the sex assigned. Okay, I understand this. Okay. Is that all you have to say? Was that just it? I want to know long-term. Okay, so here we go. Compared to cisgender men, transgender women have a higher risk of breast cancer, and transgender women 50 years old have a higher risk of fractures. Transgender men have a higher risk of myocardial infarction than transgender women. That's heart stuff. There are cisgendered women. So that's transgender men, the previously women that are now presenting as men. Their risk of fracture is just as high as that of cisgender women, and the risk of breast cancer is lower, okay? Although hormone treatment is generally considered safe for transgendered people, the risk of cardiovascular disease should definitely be carefully monitored. Transgender people should also be advised to participate in population screening programs based on the organs they have. So there are long-term, and we don't know yet. So I'm still, we're at the beginning stages of understanding transgenderism. Even when it comes to the whole sports issue, within a Bill of Rights society, we kind of have to approach this a lot less factionally, and a lot more, I don't know, within some degree of reason and logic that doesn't force anyone to have to make value judgments. You're not being forced to accept anyone or anything by being a good value exchanger with them in public space. And that's basically what we're trying to create here. Well, I hope to see happen. Systemic review of the long-term effects of transgender hormone therapy on bone markers and bone mineral density and their potential effects in implant therapy. So let's see if we can get here. Abstract. Okay, so trans women were more frequent than trans men. Oh, all studies were okay. What are we looking at? To evaluate the long-term effect of pharmacological therapy on the bone markers and bone mineral density of transgender patients. Following the referral reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis guidelines, as well as PICO, whatever that is. With more than 3-year follow-up reporting the long-term effects of the cross-sex pharmacotherapy on the bone of adult transgendered patients, transgender demographics, time under treatment, and treatment revealed were recorded. Okay. So the considerable variability between studies did not allow a meta-analysis. All the studies were completed in European countries. Trans women were more frequent than trans men. That's interesting. Trans women's treatments were based in anti-androgens, estrogens, new drugs, and sex reassignment surgery. Meanwhile, trans women's surgeries were based in the administration of several forms of testosterone and sex reassignment. Okay. Calcium levels remained stable. PIMP increased in trans women and trans men. Meanwhile, CTX showed contradictory values in trans women and trans men. Finally, reduced BMD was observed in trans women patients receiving long-term cross-sex pharmacotherapy. Considering the limitations of the systemic review, it was concluding that long-term cross-sex pharmacotherapy for trans women and trans men does not alter the calcium. So, doesn't look like, at least on that front, there's a lot of long-term effects there. So, yeah, a lot to learn there. A lot to learn. I think that from a Bill of Rights frame, transgenderism is one of those things that if we as a society can find the space for human beings to live as they choose without forcing others to have to like them, that's the secret. That's what prevents tyrants from taking over your lands. If people aren't so existentially invested in the way the others choose to live their lives, that's the bottom line. And I think I'm going to end this segment right there. So we got one more segment to queue up here, our last segment, and our last segment's a doozy. I call this segment Schizo News. So I hope that you guys enjoy. Please enjoy your Schizo News. Well, this is Schizo News. This is also, you know what this is? This is a camera that is unfit, unsat, unsituated. So first thing we're going to do, folks, is let's stop this. All right. Let's get our camera activated. Come on. There we go. All right. Welcome to NewsDialect Schizo News. This is your host, Paul Gordon Collier. And this is a segment from the NewsDialect show. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to read the headlines, and then we're going to loop back and read more details. So let's get to the headlines first. Space sex, not Earth sex. And we need to talk about it. Musk to UAW. Get some! Biden SOTU address threatens big tech over data privacy. Ad targeted. Mom of Philadelphia college student hires private security to patrol streets, protecting students amid soaring violent crime. Scientists consider walkout over climate change indifference. And then we get, can whites now adopt Native Americans? SCOTUS to decide. I'm going to turn you down, clown. You're too loud. There we go. That's better. That's better. That's how we rock it. That's how we rock it on the front side. So we got this here. Space sex, not Earth sex. And we need to talk about it. Scientists say we really have to talk about boning. I'm sorry, that's third. I didn't mean to say that. Boning, I said it again. In sex from futurism. Sorry to be crude, but it's important. Orbital healing, the topic of sex in space, has come into the fore. Musk to UAW, get some! Hype man, because he's a hype man. I'm not a Musk fan. Musk dares UAW to try and unionize Tesla's California factory. This is from Bloomberg.com. Tesla Inc. Chief Executive Officer Elon Musk challenged the United Auto Workers to hold a vote. You hold the vote. You'll see what happened. We control our employees by the shorters. The shorters. My feeling about unions. Why not? Let's do that. Unions. Well, I think it's really great for workers to have unions. Unfortunately, the way that our large union structures are, they're of some value to workers, but they could be a lot more. So, I'll just say, unions suck. We should have unions, though. Biden so-to address threatens big tech over data privacy ad targeting. Biden puts surveillance advertising on notice. Ooh. If the leaders of big tech platforms thought geopolitics would take the heat off their companies during Joe Biden's first State of Union address, they got nothing coming. Because they're dropping the hammer on you. Yo, we're coming for you. As I've been talking in numerous ways and methodologies, that the struggle between the families of the government money institutions, and then the families that are making their monies with the international digital trading and whatnots. A lot of back and forth going on between them, a lot of struggles, and this is just part of that part of the DNC that wants to get a little bit of power back in the families, a little bit more traditional families, a little bit more legacy power. Generally, not always, but generally that's what you see in these situations. State power is generally the legacy power, and then the market power is usually the nouveau riche families trying to get in. Once they get in, by the way, then they'll shift over to state power, I can assure you that. But they're both for state power, but they want to be the ones that push the state power. A state power is limiting your competition. It's all about competition elimination at the end of the day. And then we got, can whites now adopt Native Americans? That's interesting. SCOTUS will take up case over Native American adoption laws from lawandcrimes.com. U.S. Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland, speaks during the daily press briefing at okay. I mean, I do care. It's an interesting case. Very interesting case, because, yeah. I mean, if you're a social justice person, you're probably going to be for whites not being able to adopt Native Americans. But is that really constitutional? Is that Bill of Rightsy? Or maybe it's a complicated issue because it's about preserving a people and a culture and not just annihilating them as a people. So, yeah, it's another one of these issues that Bill of Rights it's complicated. We would have to really think about that one if we were going to be adults about it. But that won't happen. I'm just telling you what it could be like if adults would actually be the ones that would talk about things instead of the children, mostly. Most of the factions are versions of children's crusades led by children in adult bodies, which is one of the most horrifying things that you could possibly consider. So what we can do, though, is we can get to the story that we chose to talk about. And here it is. Of course we're going to do this one. Of course we were going to do this one. Before we do, we got to crank out that delicious candy. There we go. We're going to get... You want to see my face, and we're going to make it happen. Hold on. There we go. And boom shakalaka! Space sex, not Earth sex, and we need to talk about it. This is from, well, That's a big old poster. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, there it is. There's your SpaceX. Bada boom, bada bing. That's the image. Very nice. Scientists say we really have to talk about boning and sex. I'm just reading the title from Futurism.com. The topic of sex in space has remained taboo ever since we ventured into the great unknown for the first time. There's all kinds of imagery. But scientists are now arguing that it's something we should be actively discussing and studying. Mike reports, after all, if we ever want to become interplanetary or embark on extraordinarily long journeys through space, we should know how to boink in microgravity, or if it's even possible. Come on. Listen, you got a man, you got a woman, you got space. I'm not attracted to you. I'm not attracted to you. I've been married for 20 years, happily. I've been married for 30 years. I'm an 8th degree Christian. I'm a 7th degree Muslim. We're in space. Let's find out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I do that because I'm a decent person. I'm talking about the rest of you people, not me. None of you could resist. Of course I could. But anybody else, I'm sorry. You see a man, you see a woman up in space. You know what I'm saying? Now, you get a woman and a woman, both on the same team, so to speak. Same thing. Man and man, same team, same thing. I'm just saying, it's got to happen. It's like you're dying to know. Listen, I think that even, you know what, just two people, I don't even care what they are. It's like, you know what? I'm not even gay, but we're in space. Space sexology. In a recent article published in December, a team of Canadian academics argued we should be embracing space sexology as a new discipline of study. To move forward, space organizations must stop avoiding sexual topics and fully recognize the importance of love, sex, and intimate relationships in human life. The team had to come together to write that sentence. It's like each one contributed a word. And that's the effort, kids. We're going forward. Look at that. Oh, man. What is this? Scientists say we really have to talk about boning and sex. Sorry to be crude, but it's important. It's the same headline. That's interesting. That goes to the same story? No? Oh, yeah, that's right. Let's get a little bit more detail. That's right. Let's go. So scientists have studied the effects of microgravity on human body extensively, but getting it on space is almost a complete blind. Oh, gosh. It's just like there's so many things here. I mean, I don't blame them if I was writing it. NASA has been dismissive of the subject, undermining concerns over the effect low-gravity environments on sexual health in the past, according to Mike. There are a couple of reasons NASA has been so puritanical about space and sex. For one, when the sperm escapes and it will escape, it turns into a vampire spaceman and kills everyone. So that's probably what they tell everyone. They're like, "Oh man, do you believe it? Oh man, I saw the pictures. I saw the vampire spaceman. One of them went, did it, had a little wank, a little nocturnal emission. Vampire spaceman killed him. Crew had to kill vampire spaceman. Luckily, got him in time before he could totally get all his powers. Something like that. Saw the video, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's worse than when they said you'll go blind. Yeah. Oh no, you won't get a disease. You'll get a vampire spaceman. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. There are a couple of reasons NASA has been so... Well, I think vampire spaceman says it all. For one, sexual activity in space could jeopardize the harmony of a crew and thereby mission directives. Please. Like, sex ever added drama to anything. Please. A kid in tight spaces over prolonged periods of time. Still, it's space. Then there's pressure from conservative leading... What? Why? Why are conservative-leaning lawmakers against this? No research has explored intimate relations nor the human experience of sexual functions and well-being in space or space analogous. Or, I mean, I'd like to know who these conservative people are. I'm calling no. I bet you that's not even true. I bet you that somebody just, I bet you somebody just wrote this. Please don't tell me that conservatives would be against funding. Well, I mean, I'm not for funding anything for anyone. Just look after yourself and dig a hole in the ground and survive. No, I'm just kidding. But I doubt this is true. I think the writer was like, it's bound to be true. It's bound to be true. I don't know. So there you go, sexology. But we're not done. Not done. The case for space sexology. So this is from the report itself. This is the abstract. Let's just do the abstract. Let's just get through the abstract here and see what we got going on. Space poses significant challenges for human intimacy and sexuality. Life in space habitats during long-term travel, exploration, or settlement may detrimentally impact the sexual and reproductive functions of astronauts. Well, they're space vampire men, so that's pretty bad. Restrict privacy and access to intimate partners, impose hygiene protocols and abstinence policies, and heighten risk of interpersonal conflict and sexual violence. So this is why you don't want a swinger society. Right here. This is why you don't want to be rigorous in trying to impose monogamous relations. That's the problem. You don't want to impose sameness on folks that just fundamentally are not going to fit into your frame. But by and large, you overwhelmingly hope that human beings have consensually chosen monogamous relationships, long-term relationships, for a lot of reasons, but this is certainly one of them. Together, this may jeopardize the health and well-being of space inhabitants, crew performance, and mission success. Yet, little attention. Little attention. That's what she said. Sorry, that was a bad joke. That was inappropriate. I apologize. Little attention has been given to the sexological issues of the human species and human life in space. This situation is untenable considering our upcoming space missions and expansion. It is time for space organizations to embrace a new discipline, space sexology, the scientific study of extraterrestrial intimacy and sexuality. You know what? I need a little coffee after that. It's cold, but it's coffee. To make this case, we draw attention to the lack of research on space intimacy and sexuality, discuss the risks and benefits of extraterrestrial eroticisms, and propose an initial biopsycho something. Wow, I like this word though. Biopsychosocial. Nice. I love that word. Biopsychosocial framework to envision a broad, collaborative scientific agenda on space sexology. We also underline key anticipated challenges faced by this innovative field and suggest paths to solutions. Well, they're optimistic. You got to admire them for that. Check this out, folks. Got ourselves another graphic. This is essentially the same article, but look at that graphic. That is amazeballs. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Although I'm really thinking that they maybe should have had this the other way around. But maybe not. I don't know. They're in space, they're going to die. So that's another thing. You're in space, you know you're going to die. I mean, who the heck? Humans in space? That's weird. Going to die. Can't get past the Van Allen belt. That's a thing. I don't know. It's a thing. People say you can't get past the Van Allen belt because something. All right. So this is the same thing. It's just as space. This is just another reprint of it. But the graphic, I thought that was worth. I thought that was worth a note. And then we got, look at this. Look at this. You do a search here for space sexology, and these are all those things. Like it's already producing searches in the. We use the duck We're a ducker here. We try not to use Google. So for some things you still have to. But so here you go, space sexology, and then there you go. That's let's see the images for space sexology. All right. Yeah, there it is. There it is, folks. There it is. Space sexology. It's a thing, folks, and I brought it to you. I did this for you. I made it happen. I'm the only one that's capable of pulling this off. I'm absolutely positively the only one. And with that, folks, I'm going to end this segment. That's it. Well, there you go, folks. We have went through it. We have been 2 hours and 4 minutes of live streaming, and I'd say out of that 2 hours and 4 minutes of live streaming, there's about an hour, 30 minutes worth of show at least. So I think I put some bang in the buckage today. I made it rain quality. I quality rained it, and you got to participate in it. This has been NewsDialect. I'm going to do these whenever I want, and then eventually they'll become regular. I'm going to do it on these same channels that they're on right now, but I might change that. So if you're seeing this, you're seeing this, and if you're not, horrible loss for you. So with that, folks, I'm going to bid you all good night.